I don't understand. It's October Top 5 and Ayana is still nowhere to be found.
I'm sure she's fine.
Walter, it's X-Files week. She wouldn't miss this.
What did you go now? Are you even listening to me?
What's that noise?
Oh my god. Did you even check this room?
See, she's fine. Oh my god!
You guys! I've done it!
She's got that creepy dummy of me again.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I went searching for answers, but all I found were more questions. But I've done it. We've done it. Scully and Mulder. These are the top 5 best X-Files episodes.
X-Files is a science fiction drama series that aired 11 seasons between 1993 and 2018.
Fox Mulder, a conspiracy believer, and Dana Scully, the level-headed doctor, are FBI agents and partners assigned to investigate the more supernatural cases that can't be solved by other means.
What started as a cult following has now been widely accepted as one of the best American television series and sci-fi pop culture phenomenons. Number 5. Memento Mori. Cancer can be a very difficult topic for a show to tackle, but here, The X-Files does it well. The premise of Memento Mori is pretty straightforward. Scully is diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. Mulder and Scully find that it is related to a case they previously investigated with a group of women who claim to be abducted. All the women in that group have died of the same cancer Scully now has. All except one. The pair travels to Pennsylvania to meet Penny, the sole survivor, and see what answers they can find about Scully's illness. In the process, we see that Scully was also abducted. Memories come back to her in pieces as she struggles to make sense of what happened to her and the cause of her sickness. She eventually checks into the hospital in Pennsylvania because there is a doctor there that possibly has a cure. The two women form a beautiful friendship forged in their shared traumas and disease. The episode really does a great job with handling the material. We get to see Scully struggle with her diagnosis and try to deal with it in the best way possible. We see how it affects the people in her life that she cares about. Ultimately, Scully has a wonderful moment at the end of the episode where she decides with determination that she is going to fight this no matter what.
I decided tonight that I'm not gonna let this thing beat me.
There's also some great pacing. Comedic and supernatural relief are provided at the right times throughout, so it doesn't feel like a struggle to get through. In true X-Files fashion, Mulder does discover an alien and government conspiracy with clones that is behind the whole situation. Overall, it has some hard-hitting emotional moments, mixed with an interesting supernatural plot. Number 4. Squeeze. This is one of the earliest episodes in the series, episode 3 to be exact, and it really helped hook audiences into the show. In Squeeze, Scully is contacted by an old friend, Agent Colton. He presents to her a case that he is working on that has some strange circumstances. Namely, that people are being murdered by having their livers ripped out of their bodies with someone's bare hands. He figures, since Scully is now working with the infamous spooky Mulder in the X-Files division, she and Mulder might have some theories as to what is going on. They start investigating, and Mulder soon discovers that this is a series of murders that happens every 30 years. Mulder and Scully find that the culprit is a man who has mutated so that he must consume some livers for nutrients before hibernating in a self-made den of paper and bile for 30 years to wake up and do the whole process again. He can also bend and stretch his body to fit into small spaces, like air ducts. The best part of this episode, though, is the exploration and growth of the relationship between Mulder and Scully, as well as other agents in the FBI. We get one of our first glances into how Scully's classmates view her in her new position. It's considered a joke. That creates moments of tension where Scully is forced to choose between backing Colton or placing her trust in Mulder.
Look, Dana, whose side are you on?
The victims.
The episode also begins to establish and grow the relationship between Mulder and Scully. Scully is skeptical, but also willing to listen to Mulder. Mulder is confident in his theories and pursues them despite people's doubts and taunting. There is really a conscious effort on Scully's part to start to trust her partner despite how others see him. It truly highlights the beginning of an iconic partnership.
In our investigations, you may not always agree with me, but at least you respect the journey.
Number 3. Postmodern Prometheus. What's black and white and walking in Memphis with blue suede shoes? Like I mentioned, this episode is in black and white, and the dramatic townsfolk are weird enough for a Jerry Springer show. In fact, some of them have been on the Jerry Springer show after being mysteriously impregnated while unconscious in a circusy fumigation tent and left with foggy memories of Cher songs. One woman experiences a second immaculate conception, and Scully and Mulder investigate only to find out this woman had a tubal ligation and is therefore infertile. Her first son writes a comic about the Great Mutado, a disfigured individual who is more than just a small-town legend and seems worth questioning. Scully and Mulder also interview a local gene mapping scientist who wields his godlike power with reckless abandon.
Why would you do that? Because I can.
The practical effects have aged really well, and as its Frankenstein roots suggest, so has the story. This standalone episode is campy and fun while still not shying away from exploring people's prejudices and mob mentality. The Cher references throughout are simultaneously hilarious and amazingly touching. Almost as important as its 7 Emmy nominations, it has the achievement of arguably the best ending to an X-Files episode.
Number 2, Home. This episode is not for the weak of heart or stomach. Seriously, it opens with burying a child's remains in a thunderstorm. After a tragic car accident a decade ago, the mother and father of the Peacock family are presumed dead. The remaining Peacock sons live in a rundown home without modern amenities, farming and butchering their own food. This reclusive family is rumored to be incestuous and violent. Are the locals' fears valid? This episode has a lot of grotesque imagery, so if you're upset by that or want to keep away from spoilers, skip ahead now. Seriously, spoilers and gore ahead. When a newborn's corpse is discovered next to the Peacock's residence, Scully and Mulder are called to investigate the infanticide. As Scully and Mulder's investigations progress, they fear the Peacocks have kidnapped and raped a woman, burying the unwanted offspring. Unfortunately, their prying was being watched by someone hidden in the home. To make matters worse, the Peacock sons and this hidden voice vow to keep their existence safe from outsiders and meddling townsfolk, which, in their mind, means nixing the sheriff and his wife who refused to investigate them in the first place. This episode features some of the most bone-chilling loyalty with convoluted rationalizing. Even the booby traps set by the Peacocks are morbidly childish. This was followed by the horrifying reveal that the reclusive spy was the Peacock's matriarch. The mother's willing participation and active fighting to return under the bed has stuck with me since this episode first aired. This story isn't connected to the show's arc, so if you want an unsettling thrill, I recommend giving it a view. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And the number 1 best episode of X-Files is Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose. This episode features a serial killer with a fascination for fortune tellers and psychic practitioners.
He asks the palm reader why he will be doing the horrible atrocities he will be committing before he murders her.
What's his excuse?
Oh, that she should have seen it coming. When Scully and Mulder join the case, they meet Clyde Bruckman, an insurance salesman who knows details about their cases not released to the public. While this should make him the perfect suspect, we discover Clyde happens to have the ability to predict everyone's death. Unfortunately for him, and his lottery habit, his powers don't reach further than that. This also doesn't help Scully and Mulder's investigation as accurately as they would like, but they still get some secret insights nonetheless. As the story unfolds, we are led to the conclusion that the killer also has some sort of precognition and wrestles with the concept of free will, if his crimes are already foretold. Mulder's eagerness to believe sets him up to be the center of one of the killer's predictions, and while Scully maintains her trademark skepticism, Clyde is still able to make a meaningful impression on her. The coincidences throughout this episode are really fun and handled in interesting ways. There's also a good balance between sincere emotion and humor. Ultimately, this episode won Emmys for Outstanding Writing in a Drama Series and Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for Peter Boyle's memorable performance. We want to hear what you guys think. What's your favorite X-Files episode?
What do you want to see us cover next on the show? Leave a comment and let us know.
To keep in touch, you could like my Facebook page or follow along on Twitter.
And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or subscribe to my animated movie review series right here on YouTube.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch where I stream on Wednesday nights.
We'll catch you right back here next week on a brand new episode of October Top 5, where we count down the worst X-Files episodes.
Wait, the worst? I've got more research to do. Come on, Walter, to the dressing room!
I'm not helping her build a creepy conspiracy wall.
Yeah, no. She took the dummy with her. Guess you're off the hook.